Can we talk about the Mihlalis of this world? The Sarah Langas of this world? I mean, I can go on Cynthia Gweb, Mpumi Ledwaba. There are so many black female influencers who are killing the game, who are creating sales in their respective industries, who are helping brands have better marketing. It's insane! And yet, South African marketers want to tell us that white influencers, even though they don't really have the numbers, are valuable because they represent and market to a higher LSM. If that isn't good old racism, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah. Come let me teach you a lesson. Come let me teach you a lesson. Level line with the tweets. Follow me back to my nest. Level line with the podcast. Teach you lesson cause I got class. Level line with the impact. You be lying, that's a real fact. Come let me teach you a lesson. Come let me teach you a lesson. Level line with the tweets. Follow me back to my nest. Level line with the...
Hey guys, welcome to The Line Show. I'm your host, Level Line, and let's get into it. Before we talk about what we're going to talk about today, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the support that you guys are showing me on Twitter and on my YouTube channel and on the podcast. Like, I feel so blessed. Thank you guys, thank you. I'm so happy to see that there are so many disruptive people out there, people who are trying to be ahead of the curve or who are trying to create their own path. I respect you guys, I love you guys, and let's keep breaking boundaries. That's what we're all about here on The Lion Show. So today I want to talk about a tweet that I tweeted a couple of days ago. And it was basically inspired by me at a coffee shop, and I was going through my Instagram and I noticed, I think this is something that's pretty obvious to a lot of people, but like we never really comprehend the magnitude of this thing. But I was going through Instagram and I realized that the influencers with the most followers, with the most reach, with the most engagement on average are black female influencers. Like, you can fight me if you want to, but go on Instagram and check for yourself. In South Africa, the Instagram influencers who have the most reach, the most engagement, the most everything on average are black female influencers. So I tweeted that, and then I asked the question, and I think this is where people got a little bit heated up, is I said, so if this is the case, who is following them? And who are they selling to? You can imagine, in a country like South Africa where we don't like to talk about race and inequality, that kind of question was shaking tables. People were not happy that I was saying something like that. But I think we need to discuss it, Because when I sit in rooms with people and we talk about influencers, a lot of the time people want to undermine this concept of an influencer. But I think even worse than that, what I find in boardrooms and I find just in conversations is that people want to undermine the black South African consumer, and they do it in so many ways. So after I tweeted that tweet, one person actually responded and they were like, well, actually, I'm a marketing professional, and the reason, for one of the biggest marketing agencies in South Africa, by the way, and the reason why we prioritize white influencers over black influencers is because the white market has a higher ROI, and so we feel like investing in a white influencer makes financial sense, The white population is usually in a higher LSM, and so because of that, apparently they have more money to spend, and so they're a better market to invest in, right? And the reason why they don't invest in black influencers as much as white influencers is because black influencers influence black people who apparently all fall into lower LSMs. And I guess from that assumption, it means that the few black people who don't fall into lower LSMs are such a small group that it's not worth marketing to at all. Or even worse, maybe the assumption is that they aspire to whiteness. So we don't have to change our content for them, because if they see a white person in a great space, they see themselves and who they want to be. I mean, there are so many racist assumptions just made from that kind of comment that you have to ask yourself what it means when marketers say, no, we're going to invest in this person and not invest in that person. Do they really know South African consumers? Have they really changed their perceptions from 1960 in apartheid to now? Oh, in 2019, we were supposed to be a more educated society overall. We were supposed to be a more diverse and racially open society that celebrates the different kinds of people. And also, something that really kind of shocks me is the fact that in so many marketing and corporate spaces, they've identified the black customer as practically two things. So the poor person, and apparently we're all poor in one way, so there's a poor one, and then there's the rich one, the black diamond. And apparently those people just want to be marketed to the same way, and there's only one kind of rich black person or privileged black person. I mean, those are all problematic assumptions. And I know before we go into those assumptions that they're making and why they are wrong, I think I should just go quickly into a few of the acronyms I was using, because I know I'm losing a few of you. And it's okay, I've got your back, I've got you. So let's go into it. LSM, what is LSM? LSM stands for Living Standards Measure, and it's a tool, a marketing tool that was designed by the SAARF, that's the South African Audience Research Foundation. And they were using it as a segmentation tool to be able to identify the different kinds of people and groups that live in South Africa for marketing purposes. Over time, we realized that actually the LSM does not work because of how they segment people and the different things that they use to identify people's segmentation. You know, it's a little bit racist, it's a little bit inaccurate, so we don't like LSM. And now they've devised something called the SEM, which is the Socio-Economic Measure. So I think what they did with the SEM is they're trying to kind of upgrade the LSM and use things that kind of indicate your ability to maintain your lifestyle. So they're looking at things like, do you live close to the post office? What kind of toilet do you have in your house, you know? And I still have issues with the SEM, but this particular vlog is not necessarily about going deep into LSMs and SEMs. It's just about briefly understanding what they are so that we can have an open conversation about them. And then another term that I used is ROI, which is return on investment, and that's basically the rate of return on investment. What corporates use to measure how much they're getting back for a campaign that they've done or anything that they've really done. They want to measure how much money or how much value they're getting back from doing that project or doing that activity. So that's ROI, right? And then when we talk about things like LSM, we have to also acknowledge that the higher up the LSM you go, so from the poor to the rich, the smaller the amount of people in the group are. So what we found in South Africa is that the lower LSMs have a lot of people in the group, and then the higher LSMs have very little people in the group. What does this mean from a marketing perspective? It practically means that if we're just going to be very general and broad, that means that the lower LSMs will probably respond to mass marketing, and the higher LSMs will respond to niche marketing because they're a smaller segment. Mass means a lot, and that means that you can market to a lot of people, and usually products that are marketed in mass marketing are products like Ace Mazme or Coca-Cola, things that don't need too much differentiation. Yeah, I think that's the word. Big words. But yeah, so that's mass marketing, and mass marketing usually relies on economies of scale, another term that I'm using. And economies of scale basically means the more people you have or the more people you're selling to, the less money you have to spend or the less it costs you to produce one unit. And that's really great for a businessman, you know. So if you're a company like a Pick and Pay, for instance, you want to get that mass market so that you can get your stock at a very low price per unit. And then niche marketing is the opposite. It's marketing to a very small and selected segment. This segment usually has a lot of money. The people in the segment are usually highly educated, you know, that kind of thing. And so you'll find luxury products like Rolex watches being marketed to people in niche markets. And they'll use different kind of tools to market to those people. So now, how do we merge these concepts with this idea that South African Black influencers are actually being undermined by people using this idea of an LSM to say why they won't invest in Black influencers and why they don't value the Black market? Let's talk about this. And also, I think in my tweet I had also mentioned that it was about acknowledging the Black female online customer, right? And you know how it is in South Africa. When we say online, people usually think, okay, well, that's a space that's heavily dominated by white people. So even if you're going to fight about that, you're going to lose because Black people aren't online. Weird assumption when the biggest influencers in the country are Black and most of their followers are Black. So it doesn't make any sense to me that we would assume in a whole 2019 that Black people are not online. That's just a crazy assumption to make. Can we just let go of it? It's 2019. You do not need a lot of money to own a phone. Hello, it's 2019. You don't even need a phone to be online. You can literally use a laptop. And you don't even have to own your laptop to be online. You can go to the labs at university and log on to watch your favorite YouTube show, to go on Superbalist to see the clothes. Even if you're not buying, it's fine. But the point is you have access to the internet at the very least. But most of us, because of just digital evolution, we have access to phones, or we own phones because it's just that cheap to own a smartphone. It really is. Fight me, don't fight me, but it's true. It's cheap to own a smartphone. So what does this mean, right? It means that as marketers, we can digitally penetrate so many more people. And it doesn't mean that every time we're penetrating that we're going to make a sale. But what are we doing? We're showing people that the product exists. We're showing them how to use it. We're building an audience. We're building a relationship with our customer. And we're allowing them to maybe A, save money to buy that product, or B, we're saying to them, this is where it's available because they didn't know, or C, we're saying, hey, this product exists, buy it. You know, we're saying so many things with marketing. Marketing is not necessarily just about sales. It's about a whole lot of things. And I think we're undermining the value of marketing by undermining the people we speak to. So we need to change how we view customers so that we can understand that from a digital perspective, every customer matters. Every customer matters. In fact, I just want to reiterate that every single customer matters, and every piece of communication you have with them matters. You can't undermine them just because you have a racist perception of the world. I mean, it's the laziest thing for a marketer, an entrepreneur, a business to blame their market for their lack of sales, or blame people for their lack of marketing success. If your people aren't buying, or if people aren't buying, it means that you're not selling to them properly. It means you're not marketing to them properly. Don't blame them because you don't know what you're doing. Let's change that in South Africa, okay? Let's change that. I think we can all agree that this myth that white influencers have more value because they market to white people is inherently racist. It doesn't work from a holistic marketing perspective, and we need to get rid of it in 2019, okay? Every customer matters. We've seen from statistics that 80.2% of South Africa's population is Black. It's Black. So even if you were talking about niche percentages, a niche Black market in South Africa is still more valuable than a niche white market in South Africa, because in numbers we are just that much more than white people, the white population in South Africa. We've got 57.7 billion people in South Africa. I think that's the number, 57.7 billion. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a whole lot of people, and that's a whole lot of people to undermine based on race. Some of the richest entrepreneurs in South Africa, in fact, I'd like to say majority of the richest entrepreneurs in South Africa are making money from the lower LSM black markets. So we really need to understand that just because a market doesn't have as much money as another market, it doesn't make them any less valuable. It just means that the products that you sell to them have to speak to them, and you have to sell it to them the right way. And we also have to acknowledge that just because people have money, it doesn't mean that they spend their money the same way or they want to hear the same messages. Diamond Walker and Santa, for instance, doesn't really have high black representation. They're not showing this new black rich customer that exists in South Africa. They're not showing the student who can afford. They're still kind of basing their marketing on the premise that white people afford nice things and white people are privileged, and so nice spaces and privileged spaces are for them. And that's a very dangerous assumption to make as a marketer. So I'm going to say this because this is what I believe. I believe that we need to stop racializing segmentation measures and being honest with ourselves as corporate and marketers and saying that maybe we are racist. Maybe we're just too lazy to hire black marketers who can help us speak to black people in the different categories of black people that exist in South Africa. Maybe we're just using excuses because we don't want to invest in the black market, okay? Because finance shows, the JSE shows that the black market is the most profitable market. The black consumer is the most profitable consumer to market to and to create products for in South Africa. Is niche marketing good? Yes, but so is mass marketing. Does every customer matter? Yes, they do. So we cannot create a marketing field where we're literally prioritizing one customer over another. All customers matter. And so from my perspective, I don't think that when we speak marketing, we're actually talking about value. I think we're talking racism, and I think that needs to stop. Black influencers on average have more value than white influencers, and they penetrate a bigger market, not just a poor market, a rich market too, and we should acknowledge them and pay them accordingly so that we have an ecosystem that makes sense. If black influencers are being undermined or black customers are being undermined, it means the whole ecosystem that supports and caters to the black market also suffers, you know? We cannot have that. We cannot keep putting money into systems that only give a marginal proportion of value to our entire society. We need to really rethink how we do our marketing in our country, but most importantly, how we view the black consumer. The black consumer is important. Let's stop patronizing them with labels like black diamonds. They're just consumers, okay? Let's segment them properly and market them properly. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being overly racist about this whole thing? Do you agree with me? Do you think we need to change how we do marketing in South Africa? Let me know. Is it racial profiling and racial segmentation when marketers talk about LSMs and SCMs and why they pay who they pay? Or is it real business? Are they just talking numbers and facts and we need to get over it? Let me know, and please don't forget to subscribe, guys. Subscribe. Ooh, I love saying that. Can you tell? Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Let's kick it out of the park. And please don't forget to follow me on Twitter at leveline_SA and every other social media platform. Actually, I'm leveline_SA. Until next time, goodbye, my lovelies. Mwah, 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 mwah.